Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Operations Committee meeting for Tuesday, May the 9th to order. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest, Mayor Hand?
None known.
Thank you. We do have one delegation today, Barb Mondu, a Michigan Ave resident, would like to speak about parking in that block.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, Mayor Hand, Mr. Burns, and operations staff. I'm Barb Mondu, and I reside on Michigan Ave between Monk Street and St. Clair Street. I would like to address an ongoing safety concern and parking issue on this residential block. On a daily basis, that is 5 days a week, every week of the year, the parking spaces on this block are predominantly occupied by the staff of the Point Edward Early Learning Center from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. This leaves very limited parking available near the school for safe parent drop-off and pickup throughout the day. The school currently has a rear parking lot, which is rarely used. For the many longtime residents on this block, we have seen the preschool staff and student numbers increase substantially since its opening, with parking issues increasing in recent years. I feel we have taken appropriate steps by initially approaching the center director personally in the fall and again in January. A suggestion was made to use the Learning Center parking lot and for staff parking overflow to park on Monk Street, where there are many open parking spots available daily. This would allow the parents access closest to the school entrance. The staff continue to use the street daily to park. The safety of the children should be paramount. I've given each of you a copy of the Village of Point Edward Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 25 of 2012, Section 128, Parking Area Regulations. It states minimum parking space required for a day nursery is 1 parking space per staff member. On our short residential block, vehicle congestion is created on an already very busy street. First and foremost should be the safety of the many children being dropped off and picked up. There have been dangerous close calls between vehicles and children on this street. Last week in Toronto, a young girl was tragically struck and killed by a car as she was being dropped off in a school driveway of an elementary school. With difficulty finding parking spots, parents routinely make U-turns in the street or use residents' driveways for turnarounds. In my own driveway, a family member was almost struck by a parent's car that was hastily turning around to get a parking spot. Residents on the street have also expressed concern for the lack of visibility when exiting their driveways. It is difficult to see bikes, people, and coming cars. It is noted that Bridgeview School has a designated no parking school drop-off pickup zone on the school side of the street. It also has a community safety zone designated for the area around it, including a reduced speed limit of 40 kilometers an hour. Should the Point Edward Early Learning Center not have the same safety measures? What can be done to make this safer and more orderly? Perhaps parking restrictions during school days and hours are needed. The Coronation Park Daycare Center in Sarnia has signs indicating 5-minute parking, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on school days near their school. Perhaps the Early Learning Center could have designated limited time drop-off pickup signs in front of their school, as well as an agreement with St. Paul's Anglican Church across the street for staff and or parents to use the empty parking lot on school days. The chaos can be eliminated and a safer environment created. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Mary Ann, do you have any questions?
I don't. So we're gonna talk about this later or talk about it now?
It's on the agenda
That's because it
later.
shows up later.
I have no questions either, so
Okay.
thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
your time.
Okay.
Circulation of prior meeting minutes. Are there any questions or comments on those minutes, Mary Ann?
No,
Okay. Recommend that we accept those ongoing tasks.
So this list looks a little bit different. We've started using eScribes. They have a task manager capability, and we just started using it and we're struggling with it a little bit. So all the tasks for all the different departments are kind of mixed in together. What we hope to do, and but we've got another meeting set up with them coming up here, but what we hope to do is have create a list for each department that shows completed tasks that were completed in that month. And then any outstanding tasks. So that's where we're hoping to go with that. But they are in the one column, the meeting type, it talks about all the different tasks for the operations committee. So there's no, so the first one is with regard to parking at the tennis court on Monk Street. The guys have put in a couple of measures there in place. They put a sign up. Think the issue's been dealt with.
I haven't heard any complaints up to now.
Yeah, so and are you still looking at putting the stone in there
I
as well
I think
for
the
now?
sign to start that, I think we need to take a
See how
steps to this and a sign. We put stones in there now, we created this, we've got a weed whacker around them, and there's other things involved with that, and I think a sign should suffice, hopefully, and if it doesn't, then we'll have to go to different measures, but
Mhm.
for now, I think it has worked.
So the sign you put up, that was one you had existing, right?
Yeah,
Because the
what
wording's a
happened was we
little
had
bit
one-
off.
We had it in McCray Park.
Yeah.
So we put the stones in at McCray Park, the sign was still there, so I
Yeah.
thought, you know what, why don't we try that sign, we took it down. We looked some temporary, for putting up temporary signs, so we put that temporarily.
Yep.
And then if we decide that that's working, then I'll call locate in and we'll take that post in.
And then we'll order a sign with the proper wording.
Well,
Because I think it says something about,
please don't park on grass.
I think it says something different, no parking beyond this point or whatever.
I'd have to read it, but it says, please do not park on grass. I
Yeah,
know it
there's-
says that for sure.
Yeah, there's something else there, because it infers you shouldn't be coming into the parking lot the way I read it, but anyways,
I'm
we,
pretty sure it says, please don't park on
Okay.
grass, but we can look at it, but if we need to make another one, I can have one
Yeah.
made, but I think really for now, it's serving. its
yeah,
purpose.
we had no more complaints, so that's good.
So,
So the next one was to do with the arena and the repair that's needed in the Olympia room. No, these just would have went out to staff on Thursday or Friday, so.
So they're all done then?
Yeah, right. So Derek, did you talk to anybody from Olympia about a possible solution in that arena and the Olympia room for the cement problem?
Or no, when Donnie Schlupp was there, he said most are just concrete.
Yeah, Okay.
It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Studded tires, but
so it is an ongoing thing we're looking into anyway. Mesh presentation to council. That's still outstanding. I'll see about maybe doing that in May. At the meeting on the 23rd. We are still working on the arena roofing project. Costs are considerably higher than what is what we have in reserves at this point, so we'll probably have some information back to the next committee meeting on that. Signs for the washroom, I know Steve has looked at that a little bit, we've talked about it a little bit.
Just
but-
adding the dates, right?
Yeah.
But if we're going with this temporary portable one, do we
Mhm.
need a sign saying it's closed from this date to this date? If we're gonna,
For the main washrooms, I believe. we
Yeah, I
would,
guess we
Because
do.
people are gonna think they can, we don't put those signs up, people are gonna think the building is open.
Yeah.
The building's not, I think a porta potty sends a message, I'm open all the time.
yeah,
The building needs a sign saying close. from this.
okay, yep, that's fair,
I
yep.
think it's,
This red bud tree, Steve has reached out to,
Mike, right?
yeah, Mike Raymakers at Guardian to take a look at that tree and give a recommendation on it. So we'll hear back from that soon. And this is the existing maple tree that, there's been some concern expressed about the viability of that tree. So take a look at it, and then also if in fact it's not viable and should be removed, then what would be appropriate to replace it. So we're looking into that.
So just in the comments, though, it says provide an inspection of the red bud tree, and it's not, it's a
Oh.
Norway maple,
Right,
right? So
yeah.
or just say existing
the
tree.
existing tree would be better, yeah.
So the next task, actually, I missed it, so it's not. Based on the direction from the last council meeting, we're not doing that, for the pickleball courts. There's a report circulated for later consideration today to deal with that issue. The new truck at Public Works, when we get a new employee hired over there, a new management person that is part of their role to determine what they're gonna look at there.
What was that last part, Jim?
But replacing the pickup or buying a new pickup truck at Public Works.
So in this list, under the first column, were we not able to put the actual item that it is? Just,
I'm sorry, that,
Yeah.
I'm not
Steve still has a question.
buying a new pickup?
a new truck, like,
Pickup truck? or-
the 1 ton, I think, or something like that. It's just, there's money for a truck. He's just waiting to. We're not doing anything, is all we're saying right now,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I just-
like on any
Yeah.
truck, right? Is that not what
Yeah,
it
I
is?
thought that got put into reserves.
Yeah, and then we're just saying.
That person would
What-
go and do an evaluation. to see
when we
what
hire
is the
somebody-
appropriate vehicle.
Oh,
Ask them to do a bit of a fleet analysis, see what do we need? We work with you guys to come up with a plan. Rather than go buy like the 1 ton now or whatever, right?
So the description of the item is actually kind of that middle larger column.
Oh, okay.
Work with the service club to gather their input and see if there are available grant opportunities.
For Veterans Park.
Okay.
That's what I wonder if we can't even in that middle column, put like in all caps,
More.
like 2 words of what it is, like Veterans Park, boom.
Okay.
Fleet vehicle, boom.
Nothing's been done on, that's in that environmental, so. Nothing's been
That's
done
it
on
for
that
us.
one. Yep.
Okay. There was one, what's the status of the bollards on St. Clair Street?
Steve is, we were talking about just the other day, he's ordered some, like, yeah, the bolts to bolt the bollard to the road. They were hoping to reuse the ones they had, but they're not reusable, so he's ordered some new ones in, so when they get delivered, then they'll be. The bollards will
What's
be
the
installed.
anticipated delivery date?
Hoping to have them this week.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
That would be for Alfred as well, right?
Are we putting Alfred? I didn't order for Alfred's because Alfred's hasn't been up for.
Yeah, we didn't put any.
Oh, we didn't.
there
Oh,
last
I'm
year.
sorry.
Once we did the,
Sorry.
The
I was
speed
thinking it
humps
was
and
last
stuff.
year we were there. No, once we put the humps in.
They haven't been up since I've been.
Yeah, the humps went in and that was it. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, next is health and safety, the Arena Joint Health and Safety Committee report. I saw nothing there.
No, I saw nothing.
Okay, any comments? No. Public Works, I saw there was one item, but it said it was resolved. So that's good. doesn't even get dry. Okay, so we recommend that they be filed and received.
Remote.
Arena monthly report. Mr. Lucas, come on down. You have the next contestant on. There are no prizes though.
Derek, probably sitting over there is better that we.
Okay.
Don't
Then
have your
your
back.
face is
to-
in the picture.
Yeah. Gotta get our viewership up.
Morning, everyone. The arena monthly report for April. April 1st and 2nd was annual Point Edward Skating Club Carnival. The event was a huge success with a sold out show on Saturday night featuring Canadian Fair champion and Olympic participant Michael Marinera and Christian Moore Towers. Compressors and related ice making equipment shut down for the season at 3 p.m. on Sunday, April 2nd. With the conclusion of the winter season at the arena, Nate Shortreed, our co-op student, was officially moved over to environmental services. We would like to thank Nate for all his help at the arena. Good luck, Nate, with your next placement. The ice was removed on Tuesday, April 4th, after allowing it to melt for a full day. Protest went really well, and we did not need the use of the front end loader for the first time in many years. Black McDonald in on April 4th to shut down and isolate compressor room for the summer. Compressor inspections will take place at a later date. The east side spectator netting was installed on April 5th by Canadian Rink Services. This was an outstanding capital project from 2022. April 6th was Daniel Marr's last day at the arena. Dan was our seasonal employee this past winter. We would like to thank Dan for all his hard work and dedication at the arena. Dan was an excellent addition to the arena staff, and we are hopeful that he will return next winter. On April 10th, we welcome back the Point Edward Community Lacrosse team. Pacers have officially signed a 5-year floor rental agreement. We look forward to the upcoming season. Point Edward Ball Hockey League has informed us that they are short 3 teams this year and will require less floor time. It is hoped that we can fill some of the lost floor time with Sarnia minor lacrosse. Canadian Springs contacted in regards to our water cooler leaking. A new cooler was delivered and installed on April 13th. There was some excellent customer service by this company. On April 14th, we started the process of setting up the tables, chairs, hydro drops, etc. for the Sarnia Pop Culture Show. Vendors were in on April 15th to set up their displays for the Sunday event. Sunday, April 16th, we welcomed the Sarnia Pop Culture Show to the Point Edward Memorial Arena. The show was a huge success with 60 vendors and 1,300 paid attendees. The event coordinators have already indicated their interest in returning next season for the 9th annual Sarnia Pop Culture Show. April 18th, we hosted students from St. John Fisher School for lunch. Students were on a class trip to Point Edward Fish Hatchery and Marson Bowl. Poor weather prevented them from having an outdoor picnic, so we set up tables and chairs on the rink floor for them to enjoy their lunches. The staff and students were very grateful for allowing them to use the arena and presented us with a large thank you card signed by all the students. Central Sanitation was in on April 19th to clean out our ice mountain pit. They were also dispatched to the fire hall and Public Works to clean out additional dump pits. Point Edward Junior B Pacers officially kicked off their 2023 season with their home opener on Saturday, April 22nd against Camper. On work management side, there's 3 full-time employees. Full rotation at Public Works started on April 24th. 1 seasonal employee ended on April 6th, and the co-op student ended on April 4th. Employee training and safety training completed by all arena employees. Facility activity. Some of the factors that were affecting the totals: April 2nd was the last day of ice rentals. We were closed the week of April 3rd for ice removal and maintenance work. Total floor rentals were 38.5 hours plus 2 days of special event rate. And some of the other issues that were affecting them were not all Sarnia minor lacrosse program has started. May totals will be higher. Interior, general maintenance cleaning continued daily. Major cleanup at the conclusion of the winter season. All glass, flooring, benches, and dressing rooms have undergone a deep cleaning. Mark McGugan jersey number retirement banner has been hung alongside the existing Point Edward Pacer Championship banners for the request from the Pacers organization. All dressing room doors and frames have been painted along with railings throughout the arena. The press room floor has also been painted. Touch-up painting will continue throughout the summer months. At the community hall, Winter Optimists continue to manage the community hall. Flu and vaccine clinic offered by Lambton Public Health have included at the community hall. Concession stand, Red and Co at the rink continue to operate the snack bar. Red and Co have confirmed that they will be open for Winter Pacer home games and for some minor lacrosse zone days. Inspection, monthly fire extinguisher, AED inspections completed. Replace dead battery, emergency exit light in Olympia room. Monthly generator test completed. Work in pest control and monthly inspection, no issues reported. Classic fire and life safety have been confirmed for May 2nd for the annual sprinkler system inspection. Exterior general maintenance around the building. In venue advertising, nothing to report. Vehicles and equipment, the dehumidifier has been shut down for the summer. The dehumidifier was inspected at season end for a possible bad bearing on the fan motor. The issue was found to be a loose bolt on the fan diffuser. Waiting a quote from Resurf Corporation on a maintenance package for the Olympia ice resurfacer. Olympia has been put in storage for the summer, thanks to the Point Edward Skating Club for allowing us to use their storage shed during the summer months to store the Olympia. Customer satisfaction, many thanks from the Point Edward Skating Club for all our assistance during the carnival. Lots of positive compliments and feedback on the cleanliness and overall appearance of the arena during the Sarnia Pop Culture Show. As previously mentioned, a thank you card was received from St. John Fisher School for allowing them to have their lunch break at the arena during the field trip. Health and safety, monthly SOPs reviews as assigned by Health and Safety Coordinator completed. Security, nothing to report. Capital budget, Jim Burns has received a quote for the roofing project. Spectator netting has been completed, 2022 project. Black McDonald have been notified to proceed with the new ammonia detection system. Electric board Edgar has been ordered. Order will be delayed because of part shortages. The second AED approved at budget meeting has been installed by dressing room number 6. Interleague Communication has confirmed May 23rd as the start date for the upgrades to the security cameras and hard drive. Hot water system upgrades are scheduled for early August. Closing comments. April was the transition month at the arena. The month started out with the Point Edward Skating Club's annual skating carnival. The event was very well attended and deemed a huge success by all involved. The ice was then removed for the season and we began to prepare for the upcoming summer season. The Point Edward Junior B Pacers began their training camp early in the month and are now in full swing, practicing twice a week and will be hosting 10 home games. The Sarnia Pop Culture Show returned in April as well. The event was extremely successful and very well attended. We also welcome back many of our previous summer users and are hopeful of securing some new ones as well. In May, we will see an increase in floor rentals with the Point Edward Pacers hosting 4 home games and Sarnia Minor Lacrosse starting their youth lacrosse program. We will also have some other user groups starting their seasons as well, ball hockey and inline hockey. On the work management side, the arena employees will continue to rotate between the arena and public works on a weekly basis and cover weekends at the arena when needed. Scheduling of capital projects and maintenance jobs will continue as well, with hopes of having all jobs completed before the winter season begins. We are looking forward to the summer months at both the arena and public works. If you have any questions or concerns, be glad to.
Mayor Hand, any comments, questions?
I don't, but that was a good move with those students from the St. Fisher or
St. John Fisher.
St. John Fisher.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what a nice community event, you know,
Yeah,
way
it
to
was
give
fun,
back.
actually.
And
It was fun to see the kids.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you. And the ice show, I'm sorry I missed it. I heard it went well.
Quick, the Pacers signed to 5 years. Is that a renewal? They always sign 5-year deals
Yeah,
with
they've
us?
always had a 5-year deal. Jim upgraded the contract. And they signed it, so.
Good. Very happy to see the capital budget spending well underway because fall's gonna be here before we know it. So I'm glad to see you moving quickly on all that. And then have we done anything with sponsorship sales for that?
There hasn't been, no.
Okay,
No. And normally the billing goes out in November, so that's kind of our timeline to get things If we do get any advertisers sign up between now and then, we'd probably give them the rest of this season for free.
Mhm.
And then their contract would start, they pay in November for the coming year, so.
Right, no, I'm more talking about finding new sponsors.
Right, that's if we
Okay.
get anybody.
Okay, but I thought we were gonna hire somebody or look. for
We
somebody.
may have a partnership with someone from the Pacers.
Okay.
I haven't heard from them recently. I haven't reached out to them either.
Okay,
So there hasn't been communication back and forth.
if we could, I think this is the time to get it sold right
Mhm.
before the season starts, so, okay. All right, thanks, Derek. Recommendation to receive and file,
So moved.
thank you. Public Works. Your next contestants. Sending them up alone, Mike?
You wrote that, so.
There's only one seat over there.
Well, I got a laugh.
He's allowed, yeah.
Hey, updates from previous months, no outstanding issues to report back on, work management, we have. This is April, so Public Works 4 full-time employees. We did have the arena staff start the last week of April. Yeah, so. We did have a couple of guys in, I think, for the last month or last week, so. Employee training, we completed the online hand safety training and Mike completed his joint health and safety recertification training. Interior of the building, we had Roberts Power come in and change a couple of plugs that weren't working, remove one of the plugs from a panel that was forced to use safety power. It wasn't actually hooked up, but we had him remove it anyway. And then he upgraded a couple of lights. We piggybacked up with Derek with the central sanitation when they were able to stuck out a couple of the pits that we had, which was really helpful because now, doesn't smell when we do laundry. Exterior, we stored, winter implements were stored, so we've taken a lot of our winter equipment and moved it into the salt shed. We put it all on pallets and organize it in there, so so that's done. Roads, sidewalks, parking lots, so our weekly or bi-weekly road reports are being done. We had a small sidewalk repair at 19 Alice that was requested by the homeowner. We just repaired it with full patch for now. Winter parking restriction signs were removed 90%. We did the last one yesterday. This was the one. They're all done now. Parks and public spaces, we've started spring cleanup and initial mowing. Water, well, the washrooms are actually, the water was turned on at Waterfront. I had the plumbers in, did all the troubleshooting. They were actually opened up by May 1. Splat pad washrooms, the water's on there. So what I have a plumber coming to do an assessment this week. Catch basin cleaning by staff has been done. Tennis courts are open and ready for action. We're actually open them quite early this year and actually got a couple of compliments from the pickleball crew that they're happy they're open. We used the Little Rascal tractor implement at the Ball Diamonds. We were actually able to resurface, like did a really nice job. So it's able to tilt back a lower, and then so we were able to level it all, get rid of any of the potholes. And we installed new bags and reset home plate. So it's in use now. And those washrooms, by the way, are also open and being used.
Most of the time.
Well, they're open.
They're open, yeah, that's what I said.
I can't tell people where to pee, but I can open, the washrooms have been opened by the students and
Yeah.
they've been available.
Yeah,
So
no, that's all good.
Not much else we can do.
No, you're right.
Inspection audits and reports, we had HSE in to inspect the shower and the eye wash. The report to follow, so I did receive the report, the eye wash is fine, the shower is low for volume, so I am gonna have to. I have the plumber, I have called them to come and do an assessment for me and see what it would cost. Funny enough, it's supposed to be off a 3/4 inch line, it is off of a 3/4 inch line, for some reason they used 1/2 inch off the 3/4. Back 20 years ago when it was installed. But it is available 3/4 inch
Oh,
right
that's good.
there. Problem is now we have to buy a new mixing valve and run all new piping. But I'm gonna wait for the plumber's recommendations before I go too far with that. The splash pad installers, I called in from Paris, Ontario for a consult. They stopped by and saw me. Free of charge, which was nice of them when they were on them. And they're gonna do our opening and closings from now on instead of. The sprinkler guys, just because I feel that they're the pros. And they were actually really informative, really nice guys, and their prices are very reasonable.
Good.
We are gonna have probably some cost involved there. The computer screen was not working properly, so there's gonna be a few dollars to have to spend there, but I don't think it should be anything too out of budget. Vehicles, the RTB was in for an oil change service. The pickup trucks have been in. Oil change and service. One Kubota mower is in right now for service. And we put new tires on one of the others. And both dump trucks have been in for their annual inspections. So all of our large equipment that needs annual inspections is now up to date. So. Other motorized equipment and tools, the small rototiller died. I did put a request in for a new one last year and I was asked to wait. And it finally did give up the ghost, so I went and bought one. I'll grease the walkers and change the oil in the weed whackers, so everything's been being used and in good working order at this moment. So health and safety, no issues. Security, no issues. Capital budget, I got another quote from Boer Fencing for McCray Park. So we have two. I think Jim was gonna check into about the fence being buried, whether that was something we needed to do or not. So we're basically just waiting to see who we're gonna give, that's gonna have to be a fall job now. But basically, once we know who we wanna use, I'll reach out to them and get that going. This, it's not in here, but I have reached out to the Viking Sides about putting the plow on the truck. So we just have to get the truck to them and then we'll move forward with that, but that was kind of May, so. Community feedback, no issues to report other than we did get positive feedback about the tennis courts being open. Looking ahead, we have interviewed and hired 4 students, which they've already started. Again, waiting for the fencing from McCray. We have begun compost weekly on Wednesdays, and that's going well. I'm sure Signs has been consulted and they're working on the proofs for our new downtown banners. Imram was in to assist Steve and Mike with the county billing process, so we're going to do the county billing, and Mike and I feel like it's something that is easily managed by us when the time comes. Dead end gardens have already started being cleaned up. And I was also able to talk with the guys that were doing the waterfront at Laws, and I've been able to get a good deal on some armor stone, which we plan on hopefully using around the pergola at downtown. And so far he hasn't asked me any money yet, so, but no, I compared it to DeGroots and they were at least a third of the price of what it would have cost us to buy it, so it seemed well worth the money, so, closing comments. We're now end of winter and spring mode. The online Google Calendar is up and running for the ball diamond and soccer fields. Seems to be working pretty good. McCray and waterfront washrooms are ready to go. The cleaners are in, cleaning them daily now, while we're at McCray, I give them the dates that we have bookings and he cleans them on those days. And Sam Arena staff is integrated into our schedule.
Thank you, Steve and Mike. Any comments or questions, Mary Ann?
Could you provide the date for the splash pad opening?
Well, we generally have said on the sign June 1st.
June 1st.
Yeah.
Not just for anybody that's
Yeah,
listening.
so June 1st, that's the plan. As I have the guys from Paris coming in, to open us before that date, like. I'm gonna hopefully turn it on and check everything prior to them getting there, at least to make sure there's no leaks inside. I'm waiting, I'm gonna let the plumber open the washroom or check the washrooms first, and then we will open the valve to the splash pad and we'll just kind of have a look to make sure we're not into anything bigger.
Can't remember. What was the other thing I wanted to ask you? What's the start date? Sorry, I forget what it was.
That's
It was
okay.
another, it was a start date.
Soccer,
Soccer starts next week. It's just an ad,
Next.
isn't it?
15th, I think it is.
Isn't that next
of
week?
May?
Yeah.
She hasn't reached out.
Well, I know my granddaughter plays Monday night.
Liz sent us an email last week.
Are we doing the painting of the field again?
Oh,
Because she is not, nobody's reached out to me about that.
I think she wants
Yeah.
green with white accents.
Maybe she's got a wrong address for you or something
I
then,
don't
because
believe it was May last year. I think it was June.
no, well, my granddaughter plays, it was May,
Okay.
honestly. This is about the same, like mid-May, but Monday night's the first night. Maybe,
Because she hasn't provided any paint. She hasn't reached out
It's-
to me at all.
so
Also, just you. You
Yeah.
have it? We need to get down there and lay that out. then.
I just want to bring that up because
Yeah. but-
that's the other
Yeah,
thing
that's
that's
good.
new. I had one other question. I don't know if I should bring it up now or later, but I'll do it now while it's on my mind. So last year you brought a second pail for Fort Street. A second garbage pail because it's filling up before the pickup and then it's blowing. And that one gets heavily used because, you know, they come down the street and they pull over in the car and they dump stuff.
Yeah.
So I wondered if you still have a pail, could
Yeah,
you?
we can have another one.
Yeah, you did that last year and it worked out.
Yeah.
It just helps it get to the pickup dates.
We'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Then my only question was, the McCray fence, so you said in your report, you were gonna check out some other facilities for what they do, have you done that?
I know Jim was gonna do that.
Okay,
we're basically, Wyoming put a new system in last year.
yeah,
And we're gonna see what they did and talk to them about their reasoning, and I don't know if they buried it. The
okay,
base, that's the difference, is burying the home plate. The
The backstop.
backstop, sorry, or just,
So
so Lambton fencing
quoted
buries it.
burying it,
mhm,
or fencing, we'll put a rail on the bottom.
right.
And so we wanna talk to them in Wyoming and see what they did there and their
And-
reasoning
and
why.
Wyoming
See
did
if-
Barry,
I don't know,
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't, like, we
yeah.
wanna see what they did.
Yeah.
And see if they're happy with it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because I can see both working.
Yeah,
So I don't know what the advantage of burying it is versus,
Yeah.
maybe the less, not having the pipe at the bottom and then the fence is right to the ground for ball reaction or play, I don't know.
Yeah, and it didn't sound like, it sounded like a plate from what.
Oh, okay.
But I can't say for sure, but.
Yeah.
There was a significant price difference, so I don't know if that's
Motion to receive and file. We'll do that.
one
Recommendation?
comment, if I made this. Talk about the Google Calendar online, we were looking at it at the last council meeting and how.
Yeah.
For the ball diamond, it was only showing the start time, that was because there's a view you can go in, so. We only had the monthly view up, if you go
Okay.
into the weekly view, it does have the start and end times.
Okay,
Oh,
So
that's
the
good.
information's all there, we were
Yeah.
just looking at a different view
okay,
for the arena versus, so it's all there.
okay. And it shows up on the website.
Ours
as
is
the-
just harder to find because it's at the bottom of the page, because they didn't have the room to put it at the top.
Right,
So you have to scroll down to see.
The calendar itself, you mean,
Yes.
yeah.
and will this all be corrected in our new website? to
We
some end?
hope so, yeah, it's a setting within Google Calendars
Yeah,
itself.
yeah.
So the new website will
Will it have
have
its own
that
calendar?
same, it'll have its own calendar for certain things, but it won't. Like, you won't have the arena and ball diamonds, they'll all still have their separate, their own calendar.
Right, but it'll
And
be website created, not Google Calendar.
no, it'll still be Google
Oh, okay.
created. That's no, it'll still be Google created
Hmm.
and still controlled by our staff.
Right,
It'll basically be the same as what's on our website now. Now, there will be another calendar that's like the community calendar that will be website based. But I didn't
have you
think we
asked them
wanted-
if we can do all of our calendars in the new website?
I didn't really think we wanted the arena and parks, like they're separate entities.
They're separate, but I mean, not through Google. It just,
Yeah, I won't miss it.
and we can, we'll.
Yeah,
look at the fine.
I can ask them, but I think that, well.
Because I think you want to keep everything in one place and not all over the place. So that's all I'm saying is if they have a template that creates this, a scheduling Google, scheduling calendar, if it's embedded right in the website, it's better than going off to Google, that's all.
Is it gonna be as user friendly? Because
Yeah,
one thing we find about
like
Google
Google. I
Calendar,
like
Yeah, yeah.
it's very user friendly.
Yeah.
very-
Yeah, well, I would say we can talk to them and see what they have, but I assume it'd be similar, but if it's working, then it's working, so.
Yeah, we can, well, I'll talk to them about it
Yeah.
and see what they have.
And Jim, I did look at Mike's, like Mike logged in on his,
Mhm.
it's a default setting by the Keystone or whoever does our website now.
Okay, so we might
On
have
the
to.
arena, mine's default to weekly.
Mhm.
I think his is defaulted to monthly, which
So we need to find out who can change
you
that,
can change that default to.
Yeah.
The weekly.
because we agree the weekly calendar does
Yeah.
give you
More
more
details,
information, that's better, but
Yeah, yeah.
they both have their place.
Okay, anything else sent on the monthly report?
No, that I just wanted to,
Okay, next item is 31 Louisa Street, and that's, I brought this forward. It's the resident there had 2 trees on Victoria in the boulevard. They were removed pre-COVID. She's been working with both Paul and Imran over the years to get them replaced. And then I think when she sent her yearly reminder this year, was told she's affected by the new policy and will go on the list.
Mhm.
And I'm confused as is she, why these trees aren't being dealt with outside the policy when they were supposed to be done 4 years ago.
well. I was not aware that they've been dealt with for a while. There was an email last fall about something about 2 trees for her, but there was very little detail in it, so.
Okay.
When I received the email, it was just a request for trees. I wasn't aware that it was ongoing, or I didn't know the details behind it for sure.
Yeah,
And we have a policy in place, so that I'm just following the policy.
right.
But
But I would think that this would be grandfathered, given that this has been ongoing for an extended period of time. And should have been addressed either at some point before I
Mhm.
put this policy. I think this policy would be a move forward policy versus a work back policy.
So there is some work that needs to be done on the boulevard there, correct? Have you had a chance to look at it?
Yeah,
This is-
there's a hump from where they had the tree before,
And just one?
just one hump.
Yeah. So, it needs to be ground down
Mhm.
I
and
don't think
then,
they'll have to grind it.
No?
I went and probed it today. And it seems like it's just soil.
Yeah.
There is some wood at the very bottom of the hole that's by the hump, but it looks like it could be just shaved down. Yeah. I don't know where this Inram put in the trees last year. He put in everybody that was supposed to get boulevard trees. He sent his list of Sipkins planted them.
Mhm.
So I don't know why he decided that.
He kept stalling these trees because he had a vision of, remember he wanted to buy the turf remover and the super duper rototiller. He was gonna take that boulevard and strip it down and turn it and remove roots. And so he kept pushing those trees off until he was able to restore the boulevard. So that's why they kept being pushed
Yeah,
out.
it's only one stump.
Yeah, but he gave the impression it was a massive, he got a quote, I think, of $7,000 to redo the boulevard from a landscape company, so. So that's why it kept being pushed off and falling off lists, so,
Because the trees could be planted not where the existing trees were. and
yeah.
We could be done with this by now.
So I just bring it forward, 'cause I think the resident's been very cooperative with everybody and is just looking for resolution, so I'll leave it with you to maybe
The
reach out to
only
her.
issue with it is budget, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
Imram explained to me how we manage the budget for boulevard trees,
Mhm.
and it's through our cutting budget.
Yeah,
So once we're done all the tree cutting, it's how much we have left is how many trees we decide that we can plant.
right, okay,
So maybe we need to have an actual boulevard tree budget.
Yeah.
It doesn't rely on.
Split it out.
yeah. I'm
Give us a-
not
give
cutting
us a true
trees.
Budget, so then we don't have to wait until,
Mhm.
like, those trees, if you look into it, the trees that he had planted by Sipkins were planted in mid to late November.
Yeah.
By the time he realized how much money he had
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
So maybe that's something that we need to rethink if we're gonna start a program for all of our trees, maybe it needs its separate line item.
Is there a separate line, you could plant them now then,
At
easily,
any time,
with no
right?
worry
You
about
know, so now we're not, like, I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't even have a list of people that have requested it, because INRAM's already taking the list. Well, he did not leave that list with anybody in my department,
Yeah,
so I don't know where that list, if it exists.
you have
Yeah,
that list?
no, we've got a list. It's got 2 people on it.
Yes.
That have
And that was the
contacted
list
us
that
in the
you
last
guys
week.
started because you changed the system, the policy.
Yeah.
But he did not leave a list with anybody.
And that person's number one on the list, and then there's another person.
I can ask him if he's got a list somewhere
I
existing.
would think that should have been forwarded to us
Yeah.
prior to him leaving.
Because I know he did say he couldn't find the list when he started,
Started.
and now
Well,
the rest of the list keeps,
Perpetual, right?
yeah, so, okay, we'll leave it.
Okay.
Leave it there, so.
But just don't lose that point, and maybe that could go on the task list. I think it's a good idea to split trees out. So you do have a budget, so that you don't have to wait till it's late in the season to know how much you have to spend.
mhm,
Well, so that could be done for next year's budget.
yeah. Is this spring a better time to move trees around, or fall, or does it
You know
matter?
what, anytime really, right? You want
Yeah.
to get them in the ground and water them.
Yeah,
I mean, the ones that they planted in November have survived. I would have made me nervous planting
Yeah,
them
it's-
that
seems
late in the
late.
year, but
Yeah.
not,
yeah.
but.
Yeah, you think you can get them in the spring, all the rain would have
then
been
you
wonderful.
Just gotta hope that the homeowners will actually take care of it.
Yeah.
right? That comes the one part of the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, we'll jot that down for budget, and we'll look at doing that, 'cause I think, as Mary Ann said, it's a good suggestion.
Yeah, it's the first time I ever heard it.
And I'll get a locate on that property and we'll knock that hump down.
Wonderful.
Seed it
Yeah.
Moving forward.
and go from there.
Yep, at least it's a start. Yep, some action. Okay. Our next item is item 4, recreational facility usage. So the last committee, we made a recommendation, it went to council. Nothing was motioned or seconded, so it sort of died at council. So this is just more sort of housekeeping, that we formalize what we want to do with that. So I think in this, there's 1, 2, 3, 5 recommendations, Mayor Hand. So number 1 is that all use that, do you want to take this, or you want me to do it? Is it your report?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
I can cover up. So I actually met with, on the first liability. They are very clear that every user that uses that arena should have liability, even if it's a one-time user or family coming in for a birthday party. And they gave me the name of the company is Duo, and they have, for a 2-hour ice rental, the cost less than, I believe it was less than 30 people. The cost was $10. And it's something, you just go online and you do, and then at the end of it, it prints off a certificate of insurance that they would bring to us. And
So
so,
the user would do it, not, so we wouldn't charge $10 and do
No.
it for their app. They're
No.
responsible.
and she was very clear about that, it's not like, we can provide them with a couple of options of places where they can get insurance, but they should not be buying the insurance through us. That was her, very, very clear recommendation.
And so it's an easy online user
It's fairly
interface.
easy,
Okay.
yeah, like there's a couple of things, I would want to go through it with the girls in the office and have people have the opportunity to come in and help us go through it the first couple of times with them, because there's a couple of, like, for one instance, I know I was typing in to try how it works yesterday. And I used on the form that you have to fill out with your name and address and everything, did the autofill, and for the autofill, just put ON instead of Ontario, so it wouldn't work. So I had to go back in and select Ontario. So there's just a couple of little kinks or quirks in the program that I would want us to help people with, or at least be available to help them with. So that's for kind of the occasional user. For anything that's a league, this Duo insurance would not apply for anything that's a league. There's a sports can insurance company that they recommend for that. And you would tell them, we're gonna have 4 hours of ice per week for a number of weeks, and this is what the cost would be. They provide it in another municipality, and it was about $20 per season per user, roughly, which is, you're on the ice for a couple hours a week for 20 weeks, it's 50 cents an hour. It's not very substantial, but for whatever reason, this Duo does not work for leagues. It won't insure leagues.
Yeah.
And then the leagues, the sports can, the other, like even something like the Quilters Guild that's coming in June, they, as much as any sports user should have. Now, this duo would apply for them and there's a place where you say what the activity is. So if your activity is ball hockey versus a Quilters Guild, which would probably fall under like a sales event or something, like your rates would probably be lower.
Yeah.
But they absolutely, if somebody wants to have a card party in there, they should have every user group that's on any facility of ours that's being booked should be providing us insurance, including even the Optimist Hall. Because we're owners of the Optimist Hall, we should be requiring their renters to name the village. So the Optimist Club should be getting them to name the Optimist Club as a co-insured. We should also be having them name the village as co-insured
Does that
because
duo do like halls?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, they do, because I remember seeing on the list Stag and Doe event
Okay.
and they had, alcohol involved or not involved as one of the options. So Duo does do that type of event.
So if this gets passed by council, then we're gonna have to do a pretty aggressive communications plan because a lot of these groups are doing registrations now. And if they
Yeah.
get hit with $20 per user insurance increase, that
Yeah.
could be
Yeah,
Wouldn't we have a later start date to allow that?
well,
no, it's,
the longer we go without it, and the whole reason for this is, yes, we have insurance that will cover us. But as I said at the council meeting the other night, if something happens and our insurance pays it, then our rates are gonna go up.
Mhm.
If we're co-insured, they are the first insurer and it's their rates that are gonna be affected,
I
not
was just
ours.
thinking like, so we need to provide notice periods so that these groups such as hockey or whatever, who's ever impacted can alter their costs
Yeah.
if they need to.
Was there any option to our house, our rules kind of thing that we provided? And it's just incorporated into the,
No, not really. There's not, she could not have made it more clear that we should be requiring people to have their own insurance.
no, she also
Um,
sells,
Sure, she does, yes, yeah.
like that she sells that product.
She actually, no, she doesn't, she gave me a couple of, well, maybe she's affiliated with these companies, I don't know.
Was it our insurance person you spoke to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that.
Yeah, no, it's
I thought you were
our
talking to the
insurer,
duo person.
no.
Yeah.
And our insurer provided us with Duo and
Okay,
Sports Can
Yeah.
for the two, those are two recommendations from her. To.
so I think given the fact that it's been pointed out to us that it's a liability and potential thing that we need to move
Mhm.
quickly on it, then. Like I hear what you're saying, give until January 1st, but
Well, I
then,
wasn't thinking January, but like say enough time, like registration for hockey. Oh, great, that's now, isn't it?
Well, but the Point Edward Minor already does it.
Oh, they already, so it's not the minor.
I'm pretty
Skating
sure the
club would have
skating
it.
club does it already, so
Yeah.
our big user groups do it.
it'd be
It's more
the men's
the
league.
men's league. And so there was even a differentiation between if it's a pickup
Mhm.
hockey, then this Duo would provide
Right,
insurance for a pickup, but it wouldn't do it for like
body
the
contact.
911 league. She said definitely any group that involves a referee shouldn't be using Duo. They should be using the Sports Can. So.
Okay.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. We should, this is May, it's, 3.5 months till the arena opens again for ice use, and we should be contacting those people. If this recommendation gets passed today, confirmed at council, we should have a letter ready to go to people
for
the
the
next
MMA.
day.
Well, I'm even thinking, should we be not sending out a save the date email type thing saying. Council is working towards,
Mhm.
you required it,
It can't
and
hurt.
more details will be forthcoming so that they can at least. Start thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
Because sooner we let them know, then there will be could be less pushback of saying, you didn't tell me. Just there.
so I'll use an example, we get a lot, people call the night before, will they be able to get insurance for the next morning?
This Duo is all done online. So if it's,
Hours, like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I know my sister-in-law has rented the arena a couple
Yeah.
times, so if she called at 9 o'clock at night and had them opening the next morning, she should be able to go online that night, duo.ca, and give you a certificate the next morning.
And I-
Like the
I would assume they would issue the certificate as a PDF.
Yeah.
They could probably be emailed to you or to an arena email address and would be sitting there.
Is that a thing, is do you want staff to actually see it physically or just as far as you know?
Oh, no, we are going to need to see physical proof that it.
Casual ones will have to do it every time, or they can't.
Yeah, so that's an advantage of this sports can is it's a season thing, so, and if you end up with, if you end up with an extra booking, you're covered. But yeah, if the casual user, we need to do it every time.
Yeah, so if somebody's gonna
But-
rent the ice X number of times a year, and sport sounds like the right option.
I
Sport
think,
can.
but sports can won't cover everything
Right.
either, so, but this duo is very easy. What I'm told by our agent is once you sign on once, you can set up an account like Derek Lucas, and then when you go back and buy it the next time, you just log in and it's even quicker.
Change the date or something.
Probably
Yeah,
saves your credit card and everything. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
If you want it
Yeah.
to. So yeah, it is, but I'm thinking 2 or 3 minutes is what it would take to do it. So yeah, it is gonna be work for them and it's gonna be a bit of a hassle, but I mean. And
Right.
again, our insurance will cover us. They're not saying that, but it could really affect our rates.
Well, we're also
There's an
looking at our deductibles. And
Yeah.
so if there is a claim, then our deductible, we pay that. And if we increase that, then
Yeah.
it's taxpayer money versus if they have their insurance, then that would cover that.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's those rates, like that $10 example that I gave you, that was for $5 million worth of liability too. So which is more than we actually require at this point. We usually require 2.
And I was gonna ask that, is 2 million enough in today's environment?
Yep.
Is that what our insurance company is recommending?
Yep.
They're saying they're comfortable with that?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Now they offered a 2 million and a 5 million option. And the price isn't that much difference between them. But yeah, they're still recommending you should have 2 million.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is the insurance company comfortable with us only asking the extra 2
That's what they're
million
recommending.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure they're
Okay.
comfortable with it. Yeah.
for the second one? So you're okay with that then, Mayor Hand, this as a recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. So yeah, the second one is a little bit of discussion we've had about renting out the arena for other activities in the summertime, daytime rentals and
Yep.
such. So I sent an email out to that pickleball group and I haven't heard back from them. She replied and said, "Oh, that sounds like an interesting concept. Thanks for thinking of us." She said they were getting together on Friday and would talk about it. I haven't heard back from her since then, so I don't know what their interest level is. But this is kind of to see if we want to go beyond, like if you want us to put out a constant contact notice or something on Facebook saying, are you interested in renting the arena for
there's even like
activities?
shuffleboard and all kinds of other
Well,
floor-based
It's the
activities.
marking-
Line
it's the
dancing.
markings on the floor. that
Yeah.
Become a concern, right?
Yeah. I know in Thetford, their community hall, their pickleball, they play pickleball in there and they just use tape on the floor.
Right.
And they pull it up after every week and because it's used for other things. He has but they do it. The volunteers that run the pickleball league, they come in, tape the floor and they play all day and then go. So that's
There's,
because you don't want to get into permanent stuff in the middle of a lacrosse game to have a 5 pickleball courts on that floor, be pretty busy.
I was talking with the guy from Tennis for Kids this morning and presented this an option to him and he didn't jump all over it, but there was at least interest in thinking about it some more and
it takes the
So-
weather element out of it.
yeah.
So I was telling Jim, I don't know if he told you, but I used to play racquetball, badminton in the arena. And I used to go, I forget, we had at least 4 courts and we went on the evenings. And it was all kinds of people, like I went with my mom and dad, and we all played badminton.
Pretty hot. So,
Well, they had the back doors open and stuff, right? But it was probably more in the spring that we did it, but I thought back to when we used to use it, open to the community. And then we worked around bingo nights in those days, so you could only be the alternate nights to the bingo.
How did you guys get this turn when you did that?
Yeah, right.
So this recommendation is not to have our staff involved in organizing anything. It's just to be there to kind of facilitate the rental.
Yep, unlock the doors.
We're not gonna start doing line
Yeah,
dancing
yeah.
lessons, although Derek told me he might be interested
He
in
wants
doing
And
that.
I guess the other thing we have like staffing was another thing Jim and I talked about.
Yep.
What's the minimal
Yeah, how many,
booking gonna be if it's, say, a Saturday?
yeah. Yeah, you don't want to do it for 1 hour.
And is it
Yeah.
gonna be daytime hours? only?
Yeah.
Yeah.
or is it a Monday
Has to
to-
be
Monday to
daytime.
Friday thing during the week, that's
Isn't
it?
No,
No,
look,
we got
cross
the
is
cross in there.
Not every
But,
night.
but if there's, like, it would be,
Yeah, you'd have to figure out what the open nights are.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
Figure-
can line dance at the community hall. You have a space there. You
Okay.
can set that up.
Number two, we're supportive of and moving that along. Number three,
So number three is that we just continue to use the same system we've been using
Yep.
for bookings of the arenas and everything.
mhm,
Calling through the office and putting them in touch with the folks that look after that.
number four,
Number four is that we just leave the bookings for the tennis courts as is on a first come, first serve basis and follow the rules that are posted at the park now.
Okay.
And then a policy be established, and I put together a policy and circulated it as well that I can open up here that we can have a look at. It's bigger.
So you're saying you're gonna go forward with the idea of the indoor courts regardless of, it's not just hinging on that one group.
No, I
We're
don't.
gonna get it
think
set
so.
up and then you're gonna communicate it?
Yeah, we're gonna, I think just a social media
Right.
campaign to see if there's any interest, and maybe there's nothing, maybe people
Yeah,
are like,
yeah.
no, we don't. We can be outside at this time of year, we don't need an
But
inside.
it's not just about that one group, because
Not
they haven't
partic- no.
responded, so it could be
Right.
other groups find out they can come.
Mhm.
It might go beyond that.
And as Deputy Mayor said, like. If we're gonna tape off a court every year or every week. That will be their responsibility to do
Yeah,
that, not
yeah.
ours. I did look into. Like nets that. What mobile nets basically for pickleball and. Like, they tell you it's about $1,000.
Yeah.
A setup, so a net and then there's poles on the outside and one in the middle. And they put weights on them to keep them from toppling. And it was about $1,000. I think the net itself was about $650-ish. And then weights, depending on how much weight you wanted to buy it for on the whole per court, yeah. Yeah. So,
so we have to do a little bit of return on investment to
Right.
see.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
See if there's an appetite and whether we're gonna dump $5,000 or $10,000 into.
And two, if you do post it, just make sure the insurance is posted with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it did make those pickleball people nervous when we mentioned that.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So you're saying that when they go to Strangway, they don't have to have anything?
I'm not sure.
Or
Strangway.
River,
They go to
Rivers-
Riverside Vineyards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they,
just curious. I would have thought
Require
they'd
that.
run into it
They
already.
definitely didn't seem like they did.
Yeah,
When we were
okay.
in that meeting, when we mentioned it. we
Yeah.
saw Some stunned faces. in the
Mhm.
Okay.
crowd, and so. I mean, it's-
So-
Make out, to put it out there that they have to have it, right? So.
Yep.
So currently they can use. So pickleball people now can currently use the tennis courts with no insurance.
mhm.
As long as they're not an organized group.
Yep.
Just like you or I wanna go play tennis, you don't have to get insurance.
Yeah, that's everybody's. But if there was a booking system there,
Yes, if they wanted to book
That's
it,
kind of strange.
yeah, if they wanted
That's
to book
what's
it and
just-
bring in an organization, they come as a group and have it reserved for them, then yeah.
Then they become an organization.
And even if they started. Like if we became aware that they were keeping track of things like win-loss records and that, then we should, because then it becomes a formalized thing.
You have to call it.
Where if they're just there and, if they don't know who won 3 weeks ago and who lost. For some reason, that makes a difference.
Even though they use it every Wednesday and Friday consistently, it's a.
If it's purely social, just
Yeah.
hey Betty, let's meet and play. I guess that's the
Yeah.
difference, but if they keep score. In a more formalized way, like, yeah, they're gonna keep score, but I
I'm
mean,
sure they are.
if there's a
But if they
trophy,
track.
Yeah.
but if there's a
those
trophy
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
It's the hard thing to keep track of.
It is.
every on Friday then.
yeah, then
It almost
sounds
is like a week.
pretty
Yeah.
structured, yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
Okay, so we're gonna
Yes.
recommend that these 5 recommendations be,
Yeah, and then
Happening.
this is the policy.
Yeah.
that we- So it talks about, it applies to all facilities, liability insurance requirement, bookings through the office, at least start in the office, then go out. Review of rental rates every 2 years, lists the facilities and says that, you know, there could be other facilities as determined, and then that we continue the current rules of use at Monk Street Tennis Park. Tennis Park.
Can I
Task
make a
force.
suggestion, see what you think, under the liability insurance, list
Mhm.
those 2 companies that you talked about.
I don't think
is that
we should
wrong?
necessarily put that in the policy. I think we can
Okay.
we can say, here are 2 options for you.
Okay,
Because they can just call their own insurance company
yeah,
too, like
okay.
you can call Cooperator and say, this is what I'm
I
doing.
was just trying to make it easy if somebody looked at it and went, oh, okay, I can go here and get it. All right,
So I'll get rid of that fella.
you guys have any comments before? Derek looks puzzled.
There's questions, there's
Yeah.
like, there's.
I mean, yeah, you always think of it.
Yeah, your mind's churning.
so
So we'll have those 5 recommendations going forward.
Yep. and then we'll pull them out and not vote on. Number 5 is Michigan Avenue parking. We heard from the delegation this morning. We collected some comments from residents. Mary Ann, do you have a recommendation or suggestion?
I have a recommendation that I'm not prepared to talk about this right now because I'm waiting. I would prefer that we wait for the results from Paradigm,
Mhm.
who are currently, we're paying them to review that area. And I would hate, so we got another letter this morning at 7:45. And it suggests, speed limit and things like that. Well, I don't want to say, let's make it a safety zone until I hear from Paradigm and say what they're suggesting. So we should get their material in the next couple weeks.
I think so, yeah.
Like
I
maybe-
haven't followed up with them probably in about
So-
3 weeks,
Um,
but
I would just prefer not to make a decision until I see what they are suggesting that we do.
Good.
Since we're paying them.
Yes, I support that as well. We've got the experts. They've done a good study and we've clearly identified that entire section to
Yeah.
be part of the study, so
Yeah.
they'll have recommendations. And the only other thing in the interim I'd like to see us move forward on is Barb brought forward bylaw 25 of 2012. Can we get property standards or somebody to go over and see that they're in compliance here with the parking spaces?
it would be the planner that would do it. Yeah.
That's been brought to our attention, and so now I don't know whether they consider on-street parking as part of the parking provided to the staff or what, but if we can get that addressed and brought back to
To look at.
as part of it as well.
Just, I don't want to suggest something to do it and then Paradigm comes in and says this is what you should do. Because we're paying them to do the study.
So
You know what I mean?
Jen, can you add that as well to about the,
I just want to say,
Planning?
I understand it's a busy street and I totally knew that
Yeah.
when we moved there.
Yeah.
And I think all the residents on that street, longtime residents knew that. But what we don't think most of them knew that the church is going to become a nursery school. And that this issue would increase.
Right, but we're just at this awkward timing of their report should be done like we expect in May,
Right,
and it was part of the whole.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
add that.
So I didn't want to make a change, then that contradicts what they tell us to do or suggest that we do.
Right,
So we should wait and get their expert opinions, and then they may suggest something that we haven't even thought of on the off chance, so we'll probably have this move this forward to committee in June.
So, yeah, I think Jennifer, if for the minutes on this one, can you do a deferral?
Yeah.
Like defer it until we get information in, get the report in from Paradigm. And, we'll work on the wording afterwards, but if you'd set it up as a deferral until we receive further information from
we are
Paradigm.
gonna move forward on the bylaw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, one other thing I forgot is we're looking at putting in a crossing at Michigan and St. Clair, which is right the same area too. We're having a street crossing.
Like a lit up
It's part
crosswalk.
of the whole St. Clair Street that got added. So that could have a different impact too. So I just want to do it all at once when we have the expert tell us or suggest what we should do.
And that whole thing should create traffic calming because it creates the bulb outs and then the overhead sign with the flashing lights.
Full
And
votes would be on St. Clair though.
And on
Sinclair
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That in the
The
intersection.
whole
of
intersection is
Sinclair
gonna
and
get, it's gonna be
Michigan
redone as Michigan, or it's gonna continue right up to the other side of Michigan.
Now remind me, the crossing is on,
East side.
At this stage.
on Paul's side.
Yeah.
right? Because we further away from the fire hall.
Yeah.
Like the opposite corner to the fire hall.
There's some regulation, you can only be so close
Yeah.
to a fire hall driveway.
Oh, that's too bad, yeah, because the other side would be usable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
but
we thought. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Even for the daycare, but they can cross it over.
So if you come out of Ice Cream Galore, you'd walk straight
Yeah.
across the crossing. Anyway, that's what they're
Our hands
looking
are
at.
tied, it doesn't really, we don't have a choice. right?
Yeah, yeah.
Fire hall, so.
Yeah,
Okay, number 6. You want to get rid of that?
It's time for
Yep.
that truck to go somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. We should be able to get rid of it. We've tried a couple times, so.
keeps
Okay.
popping up somewhere.
So how do you dispose of it? He's driving in the river? or-
No,
Didn't I send you the picture of it? I showed Jim.
No?
so we have to establish a value for it and then we offer it to employees and I have to establish a value for bids from employees. The highest bid, as long as it meets that minimum value, gets it. If nobody bids that minimum value, then you go to the public.
Okay.
And it's public and highest bid gets it at that point. So like if I get a value established at $500 and an employee only bids 400, then we have to go to a public process.
Could that employee bid 400 in the public process?
Yes.
I mean, we've done this before.
Yeah,
yeah.
This isn't our first time
Yeah.
doing surplus. Doesn't
Yeah,
happen
we
very
don't do it
but-
often, but
Yeah, it's mostly because we just keep them so long.
Okay, so is it off the road and uninsured and everything now and?
Yep.
Okay,
uninsured, yeah.
Sits in the yard with no plates on it.
perfect. Okay. Okay.
The mice won't be happy.
Waiting for a new owner.
It's a
Uh,
decent truck, so.
Yeah.
somebody's
Yeah.
gonna get-
The arena, so we'll move on to financial statements, number 10, the arena monthly financials, anything there?
No, nothing. I had nothing to
Okay.
question.
Public Works, same thing. So we'll make a recommendation, receive and file those. Any other new business, Mayor Hand?
Well, I brought up my garbage can.
We'll get that there today.
Thank you. No, I'm not right. It's just, it worked out well last year when you added the second can and it's amazing how it fills up on a weekend.
Yeah,
And
it's those ones that are accessible by cars.
Yeah,
It's amazing, right? It's meant for dog poop and coffee cups, but if anybody can drive up and throw stuff in it, they.
and
and I
it's,
and I think a lot of people park at the lighthouse, eat their whatever,
yeah,
and then on the way
They
out,
do.
Well,
yeah,
and also with laws being,
yeah,
those
closed.
kids not being accessible up
Yeah.
to now. And it's created a little more on ours.
Yeah.
Once Laws's parking lot's back open, then most of those people will utilize Sarni's cans.
Yeah.
and I sent you, I think I sent you the note. The Law's washroom is opening
Yeah,
June 1st.
you said before, well, you said they were hoping to have them open before May long weekend. I believe is what you said.
Yeah.
And they may have to have some
Yeah.
directing, depending on what's closed off down there yet
Yeah.
still, so,
Be good that they're open. They may.
Yeah.
They've been hit and miss over the last 5 or 6 years.
I know, well, we
right?
just
So-
got it going and then the shoreline issues, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's it for a while.
Okay. Our next meeting date is scheduled for June the 13th at 10 a.m. in these chambers. And we'll declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And thank you for coming.